This week, we welcome Michael Jenkins in the nest, the former Falcon who's been here on Fox 5 with us throughout the season to break down every game on the Dirty Bird Report, win or lose. Michael, it might be a tough thing to kind of pinpoint one thing, but is there something that sticks out to you about this team that really is the one thing they need to fix in the last final games here?
Sheesh, putting the pressure on me. One thing.
I know it's probably a couple.
That's tough. Yeah, it's more. Obviously, it's more than one. But to pinpoint one, I mean, we have some talent all around the field, obviously. But when we get in the red zone on offense, we have to score. We've relied on Younghoe Koo, and thank God he's as amazing as he is. But to get down there and not be able to put up points, that gets frustrating. That leads to us being down. When other teams are scoring 7 and we're only getting 3. So if I had to just pinpoint one thing that just comes to the top of mind is our red zone efficiency right now.
Gene, what was it like for you when you were selected by the Atlanta Falcons in the 2004 NFL draft in the first round? What was it like for you and your family?
Man, it was a special feeling. I was back home down in Tampa. And, that year in 2004, there were 7 receivers drafted in the first round. And being a Tampa kid, they had the 15th pick at the time. And it was basically, they came up and Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Michael, and I thought it was going to be me, but they went with Clayton, and was a little disappointed, but probably in the end, it was better with not having to deal with tickets. You know how that is, Harry, every week being a hometown kid and playing there. So was fortunate that the Falcons, they had the 8th pick, picked D'Angelo Hall, and then they came up, traded up into the first round and took me with the 29th pick. So that was just a joyous moment, a day, that no matter where you get selected, you'll never forget.
So back in 2008, Gene, that was my rookie year, the same rookie year as Matt Ryan. We came in together. You actually caught Matt Ryan's first touchdown pass. Now, my question for you is that do you remember the play call?
Yeah, of course I remember the play call. 62 Comet Sink. I was on the left-hand side.
Hold on, Jake. Hold on. Wait a minute. I ain't asked you to explain it yet. I want to go through some things with you first, okay?
Okay. All
right. You're backside. You're the single receiver at X, right?
Yep. Right.
Now, if that safety comes, what do you have to do?
Oh, you trying to go sight adjust on me right now?
Okay, you got the sight adjust. All right, Jake, I'm not done.
Okay.
My guy's still in the playbook. Now, if that coverage happens to roll to cover 2 on your sink route, what do you have?
It turns into a dig.
That's what I'm talking about, Gene. You on your P's and Q's. That's all I want to hear. Now go ahead, Gene. Finish explaining to everybody what transpired on that play.
So everything Harry just said did not transpire. They went single high. Corner was off and was basically able to read the backside. And it's just one of those things, you rep it, and we kind of know pre-snap what's going to happen, all depending on what the defense is doing. So we kind of knew that skinny post was going to be there. I ran my 7-step route. Matt put it right on the money, kind of hit me right up on the shoulder pads. Safety was out of position and was able to sprint 62 yards to the house.
Catching Matt Ryan's first touchdown pass is obviously awesome, but I'm sure you have so many other Falcons memories to choose from. But if you look back at your career, what are some of your favorite things when you think back to your playing days?
Man, some of my favorite memories is with that guy on the other side over there, number 83, as a rookie, hearing defensive backs just complain all game long. What's wrong with 83? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with 83? He said, man, he a rookie. He don't know yet. He don't know. Because Harry was 100 miles an hour every play, every game, and really his whole career. I mean, he played at one speed at a high level. And just hearing how much guys complain because he was cutting them, he was on them to snap the whistle. It made for a lot of laughs and a lot of good times on our side of the ball.
Jake, I try to tell people nowadays, listen, there's too much buddy stuff going on out there on the football field. Now, I can understand after the game, you want to dap your boy up. You want to say, hey, man, good game, this and this. But in between those lines, Jink, was I friends with anybody, Jink?
Nobody.
I didn't care who you were. Nobody whatsoever.
Nope, and that's I mean, that's one of the great things about Harry. And people say, "Oh man, he don't look like a football player because he about 5'7", 150 pounds, soaking wet."
Bro, you're not gonna do me like that. I am 6'1", 185 pounds.
No, but you kind of hear it to this day with Russell Westbrook. I think he said it just recently. He's like, when I'm on the court, man, he's not friends with anybody. He's trying to dominate, and that's the way Harry played. And it's fun to have people like that on your side, and it is something you don't really see with the type of players that are in the league in this day and age.
Jane, who was the funniest player you played with during your time with the Falcons?
Oh man. Man, we had so many characters. We had so many characters. Harry being one. Roddy White was a funny guy, and it wasn't like he was just trying to be funny with like jokes, but just some of the stuff he did on and off the field. Our whole receiver room, honestly. Brian Finneran, Roddy White, Harry Douglas, Eric Weems. I mean, the list goes on. Coach Terry Robisky might have been one of the funniest coaches I ever played for. So it made for a good time.
Here's the second part of the question. Who got fined the most within
Roddy
your
White,
career with the Falcons?
By far, Roddy White.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
Michael, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I'm sure Finn still has some of them fine books he might have brought up, and he can show proof of how much Roddy got fined during his career with the Falcons.
Jing, I don't know what you're talking about.
We've had some of these former teammates on the show, and it's so funny for me to hear these kind of memories, these locker room stories that we don't normally get to hear, on a day-to-day basis. And the question I have for you is, what is your best Harry Douglas story that you can tell us on air?
Shoot, I don't know if I can tell any of them on air. That's what I just said.
That's why it's a challenge.
I don't know.
That's why it's a hard question.
She said that you can tell us on air. The world sees this, okay? That you can tell us on air.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I only come with the hard questions.
These are Kelly hit me with some real hard questions right now. One funny story that I can say is we're at a steakhouse with the receivers for a dinner, and everybody has their own ways they want to order their food, how they want to eat their food. But some people kind of take offense if you do stuff that's not really the norm. So Harry orders his steak. He asks for ketchup with his steak. That's how he like his steak. He can eat it however he wants to. But another receiver say his name. Say his name. Brian Finneran got very salty at the fact that Harry ordered ketchup at a pristine steakhouse and wanted to eat that with his steak, to the point where it got a little physical at the table, and some headlocks might have ensued afterwards. So it was pretty hilarious what transpired after that.
Well, now you have to tell us what transpired after that.
No, just them getting in the headlock with each other and wrestling each other in a steakhouse over Harry ordering some ketchup.
But it was so funny, Kelly, because like things like this transpired like throughout a day when we was around it, and we was around each other like all the time, and we were all like inseparable. Like we loved to be around one another. We worked out together. We traveled together. We did every single thing together. So you can only imagine the things that transpire in our wide receiver room. But it was so much fun to be around you guys, man. Like I don't think it will ever be a receiver group like ours that was so selfless and cared so much about one another. It didn't even matter like where we were. If you messed with one, you was gonna mess with the rest of them, and that's how it was.
It definitely was a special group, and like Harry said, I mean, guys played special teams. Guys did whatever they did to get cut blocks. Guys fought hard for each other to see everybody else win and succeed. And that was, even my entire playing career, I never had a receiving room like that.
Jing, so what is it like, man, getting into the media world? I'm in the media world right now. How are you loving it? How do you feel like you're transitioning into that world so far?
Man, I feel like I've been robbed of it a little bit with COVID, and I haven't been in one studio I haven't seen any of the co-hosts that I work with on Fox 5 on Dirty. So, but still blessed and honored to be asked to do the show and kind of dive into something obviously that I've never done. And people have always asked me to, why don't you do it? And I just never really found an interest in doing it. But to be in it now, man, I love it. I love to be able to reach households, however many it is at 11:30 at night, every Sunday night, and just talk football, just talk stuff that I know and love, and, kind of get insights of folks of, what's going on.
Preaching to the choir with this Zoom situation that we're all in here with our shows. But tapping into kind of your media mind and your opinion on things going forward for the Falcons, obviously they'll be looking for a GM and for a coach. Do you hope that they go for someone who's maybe more offensive minded than defensive minded? And who are some people that you think they might target or hope that they might target?
Honestly, the offensive or defensive minded, it doesn't really bother me which way they go. You just want to have somebody that can be a leader of men, that can get them excited and passionate about playing the game for each other. So whether if they have an offensive background or defensive background, that doesn't matter to me. As far as names, I mean, I've kind of heard names rumored around there where they like Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, offensive coordinator. I think he obviously deserves a shot at being the head coach. He's done great things out there in Kansas City. I've heard rumors of bringing someone in like a Louis Riddick as a GM who has a great mind and has been in that role before. So I think those would be great candidates at least. But who knows? The defensive coordinator from San Fran, Robert Saleh, he's going to get under a lot of attention. I know they're pulling hard for him in Detroit. But, they got a lot of things to address with whoever coach and GM they bring in. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the insight. Thanks for the stories. We love to hear those, especially the Harry Douglas stories. We love hearing those on the show. But you guys can catch the rest of this conversation on fox5atlanta.com. And of course, you can catch him on the Dirty Bird Report every Sunday at 11:30. And we'll be right back on Rise Up Tonight.